we say that we want to do something, but then what do our actions say, and how do we really know how we're spending our time versus what we say we want to be spending our time doing? Today's episode could literally change your life. Today we're going to be talking about time management and how you can get more done with less time. Kabir, what do you think about time management?
Robert, I think time management is the most important skill set to have in today's time where we're constantly bombarded with distractions from social media to text messages to just things that would take us away from our goals. So I think it's a great topic to talk about, and I'd love to hear your insights as to how you manage your time so well, Robert.
I think one of the keys to time management is momentum. If you can just get in a rhythm and a pattern of managing your time well, it's like a virtuous cycle, and you'll just keep using your time better and better and better. And so that's some of the thoughts that I have written down here today to talk about are just going to be momentum builders, things that can help you get into a cycle of using your time well. The first thing that I'm just going to share for anybody out there is to make the most of your Monday morning. And for me, life is kind of cyclical. It's like a 7-day week cycle. Sunday's like the last day. And then Monday is like the first day of the work week. And that's when you're really going to determine your effectiveness for the week. I can count. Well, I know that when I make the most of my Monday mornings, Kabir, it's like a night and day difference by the time Wednesday comes, just like the amount of things that I've accomplished. If I wake up on a Monday morning, I get up early, I get my workout in, I get started for the day, and things are just propelling, like the momentum will carry me throughout the week. That's just one of the observations I've seen. What about you, Kabir? Do you find like Monday mornings are important for you or helping
Yeah,
you
I love
take your
that. I
time?
love that as the transition because I was going to touch upon this as well because my first time management secret is having an effective morning slash evening routine. So it's not the same as a Monday morning, but it is just allocating time for yourself early in the morning every day and every evening. This is different for different people. And I feel like for myself and a lot of people who are the creative types and want to like build new things, it's very important to have time for yourself. So I like to start off my day, same as you, exercising, but I like to like journal and write down ideas, things that have been on my mind for the past few days, improving my writing skills. And I feel like with the advent of technology in today's time, creativity and writing has become such a essential skill for people. With ChatGPT allowing us to pretty much bring our thoughts into action. So yeah, I'm going a little bit on a tangent, but for me, the morning routine and then the evening routine, once I'm done with the workday, helps me manage my time for work.
That's awesome, Kabir. I know that like the journaling that you mentioned, like that really helps me to like think through what is going to be important to focus on. I tilted my laptop up so I don't have raccoon eyes, just because the window's above me. I can dive into my point number two.
For sure.
So the second principle that I wanted to mention today is just do it. And what I mean by just do it means if you have something that you need to do and it's going to take you less than 5 minutes, just do it. When you get notified about it, when you think about doing it, just do it. Don't put it off. I read a book once called Getting Things Done, and this was like the key focus of this whole book was to not procrastinate your email inbox. If you have an email that you could respond to in 30 seconds, just respond to it. Don't mark it as unread and come back to it later. That trap will sink so much time as you go back and forth and reread the same thing over and over again. But if you just do things, and if you are unable to do it because it will take a little bit of time, then write it down. If you write it down in a place where you know you're going to look back again, that will save you so much time. So either if it's a very short, simple thing, just do it right then in the moment. Don't procrastinate. And if it's going to take more than 5 minutes, then write it down and then plan it into your day. But make sure you write it down on a to-do list somewhere so that you're not thinking about it. You're not taking up this
Mm.
mental energy trying to think about the things that you have to do. So that's the next step. Just do it or write it down.
I love that. I think it's like where I don't want to use up this cache memory in my mind. I want to keep it for things that are important. And when we're like not doing things that are just 30 seconds long, we're using up this brain power where that's something that should be just done in an instant. So I love that. And I can think of many things where I can apply that just do it mentality to get things done ASAP. So I love that, Robert. My second strategy is time boxing. I love having a calendar and just putting things on my calendar and keeping it very full so that I know that I've got my morning routine in, I've got my evening routine in, I've got time for myself already done. I don't need too much free time in my calendar anymore. I want to get things done, boom, 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 one after the other. And I was really inspired by Elon Musk's 5 minute time boxing, where he does tasks every 5 minutes is a different task. And mine is not as rigid yet, but I remember the most productive I was in my life when I time boxed every 15 minutes. And I just want to get back to that level.
That's really cool. You time boxed every 15 minutes and you just had it ahead of time. So you knew, okay, it's this time of the day, I'm going to do this. This time of the day, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try that. I've never, well, I feel like I have done similar things, but recently it's been, I haven't done anything like that in a long time. So I would love to try time boxing. That's a good idea. My my third point is kind of similar. It's just calendar, like use a calendar. I live by my calendar a lot of days. It's if I put something in my calendar, I do it. And I guess this is kind of like the time boxing method, but often my calendar is more open. But I just if something needs to happen, I'll schedule it out and and make dedicated time to do that thing. Otherwise, it just slips through the cracks and doesn't happen. So that's my third. Just use a calendar, kind of short and sweet.
I love that. Mine's the same, short and sweet. I use the calendar very often, and it goes in the line with time boxing. And I'd like to point the negatives of the same thing where I'm not using the calendar. The days I'm not using the calendar, then I'm like using this cache memory in my brain to like remember things
Hmm.
and and miss things, which actually ends up taking so much more time when I have to reschedule, recoordinate next week. So again, just want to emphasize the point of using a calendar effectively. And that's a skill set that I really um, perfected when I was in university because it's so many different tasks involved in university where I'm also working at the same time while I'm doing school, while I'm doing other things. So that was something that I learned really well during my university days.
You know what's really cool, Kabir? As we've been talking about like calendaring, it reminds me of Peter Drucker. He was a Harvard professor that was really famous for time management, especially. And um, he said that the first thing you got to do to maximize your time is to know your time. And one of the benefits of a calendar is it allows you to like see how you're spending your time and
Mm.
visualize that. And it's not a perfect representation, but I think that's a good skill and a good exercise for people is to know how you're spending your time. So often, senior executives at companies will go through an exercise with Peter Drucker. They'll come out the other side and they'll realize, oh, wow, I thought I would be prioritizing these things, but it turns out I wasn't. I was spending my time doing stuff that wasn't in harmony with what I say my priorities are. So even for you and me, I feel like there's things
Mm.
that happen every day where we're like we say that we want to do something, but then what do our actions say, and how do we really know how we're spending our time versus what we say we want to be spending our time doing? So that's empowering.
Wow, I love that, and I think that's yeah, that's just a great way. to like conclude what we were talking about today about time management and like actually knowing why you are doing that, why you are actually building a calendar, why you're time boxing, why you have Monday mornings or morning evening routines, is that you want to prioritize the things that are meaningful to you. And that's such a key point, Robert. I love that you ended with that as a time management skill, prioritizing.
And I think when it comes to prioritizing, it's like easy to not do, but if we don't do it, we end up always putting out fires. Like there's always going to be another fire in our life, another social media video that looks interesting, something that's going to soak up our time. And if we haven't proactively decided, these are my priorities, 1, 2, 3, and
Mm.
let our priorities dictate how we spend our time, then we're going to have external factors in our life be
Mm.
dictating how we spend our time every day. And we're gonna look at the end of the week and be like, man, I didn't get as much done this week as I wish I would have got done. And it's because we didn't have a clear priority and then make time for the things that we determined were the most important. So how do you know, Kabir, how do you know what the priority is in your life? Like, how do you determine what the most important things are for you to do?
I think that's a very big question. And I'd love to talk more about it on a different podcast with you. But the priorities are what defines you. Like, why are you here? Like, what is it that gives you meaning in life? And those are priorities. So if it's specific to like what my priorities are, I think my priorities are very personal in the sense of family and what kind of a um, father do I want to be? What kind of a husband do I want to be? So like family has been and always will be like the number one priority. And that's why morning, evening routines are essential in my life because that is away from the workplace. Um, so yeah, that would be my number one priority.
I think this simple act of knowing what's important to us just helps us be a lot more effective. Because it's like in Alice in Wonderland, there's that cat, it's the Cheshire Cat, and he says to, and Alice says, "What road do I take? What road do I take?" And the Cheshire Cat says, "Where do you want to go?" And Alice says, "I don't know." And he's like, "Well, if you don't know where you want to go, then it doesn't matter what road you take." And so if we don't know what our priority is, or we don't know what our heading is, that's Jack Sparrow. He's like, you got to have the heading. If you don't know where you're headed to, then it doesn't matter like how you spend your time every day. It's impossible to maximize your time if you don't know what
Mm.
you're maximizing for. And so that's maybe another, we can dive into that a little bit more in another episode. But yeah, that's a really important piece of all of this is how you prioritize.
Oh, Robert, I love that. And after recording this podcast with you, it just makes me want to work more. So I really appreciate that we did this podcast right now. And I want to make sure that I go towards my goals and go in that direction. So thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Kabir. This has been great. And if you're just turning in for the first time, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. This is our experiment. We are just testing this, trying to get a few videos out there and see if there's a interest in people that want to learn more from Robert and Kabir. So any final thoughts, Kabir?
Subscribe, tune in. We are going to be your best friends through this podcast adventure.
Oh yeah, here comes Operation Best Friend. Okay, see you later.
Yeah.